Hello, welcome to another weekly video. Today I'm going to be talking about religion and religiousness. Um, those always come into play a lot of times when you get into talking about God and I guess the right and wrong, the way people should live. You know, some of those things kind of go along into my video, so I wanted to talk about it for a little bit. I've struggled myself with religiousness for a long time. It's tough because you have to kind of go into some religiousness if you're going to talk about God. I think that's just part of it. But there's a fine line, I think, to to really considering what is out of balance, I guess, with religiousness. And it is kind of a negative word, I would say. It's not really a positive thing generally. But it'll feel different with different people and different churches. I've seen a lot of different levels of it, and and I myself have struggled with different levels of it. I came from my mother specifically was very religious, um, and I always kind of felt like things with God were just kind of a go with the flow type thing, and she was very religious, kind of viewed things more black and white. You know, Sometimes it felt like she didn't feel like there was a lot of grace in religion and Christianity. She didn't. I mean, maybe she didn't feel like there was much grace from God or Jesus. I mean, I could kind of understand that, but but I kind of saw more grace in a lot of the things that God says. So we kind of always butt heads about what things should and shouldn't be when it comes to I guess God specifically. But um, I think the last several years I've struggled um, trying to find some kind of balance in the religiousness because um, I think sometimes we grab onto religiousness because we want to find some kind of reasoning in our life, some kind of logic. Um, and it tends to put a lot of pressure on us. I think that's the problem with it. Um, I remember before I got married, um, I used to kind of think more in terms of like most things are just coincidence, and I felt like a freedom through that. I even got actually into a and too much and sorry, too much of an extreme with coincidence. I actually started going in the direction of, oh, there is no God. Everything's a coincidence, and everything in the Bible is just fairy tales. I remember, gravitating towards being an atheist, just really going against some of the things that I felt in the church because they were just there was just so much pressure to it. There was so much like feeling like perfection sometimes, and it could feel like there just wasn't much love when you're in a church and you're around Christians. Um, and they can be some of the coolest people that I know of. And what's odd is, and me and my husband have talked about this too. Some of the best people I knew, they weren't Christians, and so I would try to get away from Christianity as much as I could. People seem to be more open minded um, when they're not involved in a church for some reason. Um, I've seen more people, um, kind of have this attitude of you don't talk about God. Those are the better type of people. But I do feel like there is a balance to it. When I met my husband, he kind of showed me that, you know, you could still have a mentality of freedom to an extent, but also be able to talk about God. That was something I really wanted to be able to do with people. I wanted to be able to talk about God. So my lifestyle before, meeting people who didn't talk about God, they could be better people, but I just wanted to be able to talk about God with other people. But that's just my situation. But I really started to struggle with some of the rules as I got older. Well, I call them rules. Some of the things that are said in the Bible. Well, really, I guess I've always felt that way. I've kind of always, um, like I said, I either used to think, well, this doesn't apply to me, or I would think this does apply to me, and I just can't meet the expectation. For example, I'd heard that saying, "You never go to bed angry," and I used to just um, think that it was no big deal. It's just something God says, but it doesn't really matter. But when I got married, I kind of took it really serious, and I felt like I had too much pressure on myself with that. It just became um, really an unbearable weight to try to do that. I just felt like I just saw myself more and more as a failure. Excuse me. I just saw myself more and more as a failure if I couldn't do that thing, because um, I think I worried about the consequences I would face with it. And I just kept feeling like, why can't I do this? Is there something wrong with me? I mean, um, there are things in the Bible that feel like they should be basic, and if you can't do it, there's something wrong with you. But um, as I went along, um, I started to feel more like I needed to let go of some of those feelings. Basically, trying to find a balance between how I used to think and how I think now. I kind of look at it like you just have to hold on to religion loosely. If you've ever heard that song, um, like hold on loosely, you can't you can't really um, take things too seriously. You can't take religiousness too seriously. It'll really mess up your mind, And I've seen that with other people too. Like they'll um, they'll twist religion in with their families and stuff, and it can get people really off track. So I've been battling that myself, just really trying to find um, a balance between, you know, this is what God wants, but there's also a lot of like, um, I say coincidence to it. Just looking at it like it's just, well, this is just what's happening in the world, not like, oh, this is a consequence, or you know, everything is controlled very extremely in a religious way. God isn't controlling. He's not um, sitting there like trying to dictate everything, or he's not always involved in everything. It's just kind of a flow, and you just kind of have to let things be what they are, and um, not try to read too much into it. I think that's where I ran into problems. Um, I actually find more freedom now, and just thinking, well, you know, maybe this is just a coincidence, and it's kind of hard to explain unless you've gone through it. Like there's just something to always thinking God is controlling everything that could feel, I guess, controlling. It could feel kind of bad sometimes. So So sometimes it's better to just, well, for me, it's better to just look at it like God is just, He knows what's going on, but He's not um, controlling in a negative way. He knows what's happening in the moment, kind of thing. Um, Again, I think I'm struggling to explain it very well, but um, I think my best advice is just kind of um, not get too wrapped up in the religiousness, not let it be too controlling for you. Just kind of try to find some distance sometimes between religiousness and human nature and coincidence and all this. I mean, there's a balance to all of it, and kind of get it to where you just don't feel so much burden with it. I think that's the main thing. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I thank you for watching. Have a nice day.